Okay, today we're going to explain the parable of the vine with electricity and electromagnetic connections, showing how all history and all life and all biology works around the same principle of energy, and that anything moving in the universe all follows the same principles of electricity and electromagnetism that magnets do. So we're going to go through some scripture and science of magnets and things like that to explain this. Okay, so Jesus is the true vine, as he says. The Father is the cultivator of the vine, which means the Father is where the energy is coming from, and he basically prunes good and bad behavior from the vine. Now Jesus says if we are to abide with him and him with us, we must remain in his love, which is his decisions and his commandments. Now I want you to look at this vine, because this is the principle of all energy travel and all life. You have your main stem. This is the life force of the Father, then Jesus, and all of this is the branches off the vine of life, which are the people. So each branch must bear fruit for the true vine, otherwise the branch is lopped off, which is what Jesus says will happen. So anything that is attached to the vine will be taken away if it is not producing fruit. Now, see, this is difficult because it's all got biology mixed in with it too. Now along this vine you have an electrical vortex and you have an electromagnetic flare. This is what happens when energy hits an inertial plane. Each point on this vine is an inertial plane that the energy has hit and tried to go through. And as I've said, with water, plasma, steam, and a million other things that I've put on video, when energy hits an electrical or matter barrier, it splits in two to try and go around the barrier. I've said that there are two different fields on either side of a magnet. One is electrical, one is electromagnetic. This is on one side of a magnet, and this is on one side of a magnet, and then it is also on the other side of the magnet through the inertial plane, so they're on both sides. Now, because this is energy travel, I'm now going to show you strength within electricity and electromagnetism using biology. This is the vine, this is energy travel. This is my arm. This is the vine. This is where it hit an inertial plane of my body, which means it was an electrical barrier that the energy then built up here and then exploded outwards. So what do I have on the end of this electrical vine? I have two sides. I have a flare and I have an electrical vortex, and together they make a vortex. But where does the strength lie? The strength lies in the electrical part, which is the thumb, which is for grasping. Without a thumb, or without an electrical leader, you have no regenerative power. This is searching out. This is grasping. This is flaring. So this is your thumb, and this is your fingers. Without fingers, you have no power. Without electricity or a thumb, you have no power. But this is the vine, this is the flare, this is the electrical component. But inside of the electrical component is electromagnetism. Inside the electromagnetism is electricity. It is a cascade. So this is a parable of energy travel, which is exactly the same as the vine. There is one that curls around things, this one. There is one that is flaring out, this one. And they can both be brought together, and all the power is when they work together. And so Jesus is the energy. This is you, electricity and electromagnetism that has gone through an inertial plane and created a body. And if you do not bear good fruit, you will be taken away from the vine. And this is why God says Israel has been taken out of the true vine, because they still believe in the Old Testament and don't believe Jesus arrived. And we, as the Gentiles, have been grafted in. I'm a Gentile, I'm white, I've got blue eyes, and I've been grafted in to this vine. You can be pulled out again if your behaviour changes, when this electrical vine cannot bear what you are doing. Now think of two magnets. They join together. I've said that there is a flare and electricity coming out of a magnet like a hand. And when two magnets come together, they grab like that. That's how they grab. So if you abide in me, so I can abide in you, says Jesus, this means we are not in opposition, we are in agreement. And so the electromagnetic fields will intermesh. Abide in me and I'll abide in you. Understand? That is to show that Jesus is in us and we are in him. Same principle of magnetism. When two opposing ends come together, they cannot grab. They do this. And so, if you are in complete opposition to Jesus, you are the repulsive end and cannot join into the vine. It's all about electricity and electromagnetism and parables such as. So each one of these is an inertial point. That's a vortex, same as on a magnet. That's a flare, same as on a magnet. Everything is electricity and electromagnetism. And Jesus is the vine who stems from the Father, who then trims his creation. But Jesus is electricity and electromagnetism. That's why it's talked of as the vine. I've just shown you that obviously these are twisty vortices, and that's what they do. They search out other energy fields. They're travelling through the EM field here, looking for other matter to wrap itself around. There's your flare, there's your vortex, there's your flare, there's your vortex, because all energy travels the same. I could point to my body and say that is the electricity, and my arms are a rolled up flare. This is a halo wave that comes around to the front of my body, perpendicular to the original flow. And at the end of this wave, I have a flare and an electrical thumb, but they're both electricity and electromagnetism. And they attach like magnets. There's a cup on top of a magnet, and there's a cup on the bottom of the magnet, and they lock together in a scroll lock, because everything is vortex to wave and back to vortex. Abide in God, believe that he is an energy being, and that life is energy, obviously, electricity. If you didn't have electricity, you would die. God is an electrical being, and so all the Bible should be viewed as an electrical event, and electrical occurrences, and electrical phenomena, as well as electromagnetic phenomena, because that's what the Bible is, an electromagnetic, electrical picture book for your mind if you have the key. And the key is electricity and electromagnetism vortex, splits, electricity and electromagnetism, then it comes back together, electricity and electromagnetic vortex. Vortex, wave, vortex. Thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and I tell you all the clever things that he tells me. Thanks very much.